Ooh, that's impressive. Okay. All right, we got quite a few fun people. I'm gonna mute everybody that's not Todd or I. And the way we're gonna work today is that we're not gonna be here terribly long. I'm gonna do a little introduction and discussion. I'll turn it over to Todd, and then if you have questions for Todd, then the best thing would be to write those into the chat. Particularly, specifically. Writing them in the chat is going to be more helpful just because you can write them before we get to the actual portion where you might ask him questions. So, so I'm just muting people as they come in the door. Lauren is on a tour through her house, it looks like. I muted you, so we can't hear you, but we see you walking around. Yes, show us the guest.
Yeah, I was trying to mute myself because my entire family is like screaming in the background. Welcome to the crazy house that I live in. So I'm going into another room so you guys can't hear them.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so it's 2 minutes after 6. I'm sure we will have some people join us. We want to go ahead and make sure that we're very kind for everyone's time. This is a fantastic opportunity for us to introduce as many people as possible to the new licensee and organizer of TEDxEustis. So my name is Timothy Totten. For 8 years, I was the licensee for TEDxEustis. And for 8 years, I was the co-organizer. And you can only have one co-organizer according to TEDx, but I really had two. It was really me, Byron Foudy, and Robin Richter, who is looks like she's praying there in the red. Um, so we gave her the title of administrator, which is actually really she administrated everything. Right? So all the emails you get, everything of that nature. And we did that for 8 years. We loved it. We did start talking a couple years ago about what our succession plan would look like, that none of us were going to be able to do it forever. And we sort of talked about, do any of us want to did anybody else other than me want to take over being the licensee? And neither Robin or Byron necessarily wanted to do that. So we kept looking for somebody who might be the right person. So I had a lot of meetings with different people, various different people. And realistically, I knew what we needed was somebody who was an organized person, somebody who's really good at pulling together a group and leading a team, somebody who would be good at fundraising, somebody who can, look at a situation and figure out what needs to get done to solve things. And I happened to, this year when we chose our speakers, one of them was somebody I've known for a while, Todd Mazenko, who has handled my estate planning, and I think my mother's and several other people's that we know, and he's well known in our community. And he and I went to lunch one day, and I was telling him that I was on this sort of journey looking for someone to be the next licensee. And he said, "Well, is that something I could do?" And I thought, well, I wasn't going to be so forward as to just ask it that way. But yeah, absolutely, Todd. So we had good conversation. What I'm very proud of is that Todd took more than a month to really think it through. I sent him all of the cons. I sent him pros early on, but then he said, "Send me all the cons. Tell me all the reasons I wouldn't want to do this." So I sent him all of those, and he ran down all of the details. I mean, I love to sort of hear that from you, Todd, about what you did to sort of research this. But so many of you who were at TEDx Eustace in 2025 February got to hear his great talk, which, by the way, has not been published yet because it is a TEDx editor's pick, and it will be coming out with a lot of fanfare from TEDx at some point in the next 12 years. I don't know how it's going to take forever. I don't know why they're still taking their time, but at some point soon it will come out. So let's give a little applause for Todd. Thank you, Todd. And Todd, I'm going to ask you to maybe just share what you would like to, and if you want to talk about, the reasons why you chose to be the successor and do this would be great. And then I'll come back later and talk about what I'll still be doing and what Robin and Byron will still be doing. So anyway, Todd, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say thank you because the groundwork laid by Tim and Byron and Robin and Pete, Sabrina, and everyone else is just such a great framework. That's really what made it much easier for me to make the decision. When I did my talk, I had no idea how much work it would be. Like I had no idea. It was just Tim and I were just talking about this. I can do an hour talk off the cuff, no preparation, in a second. You know, you can say, hey, I need to talk about the estate planning for an hour. I can do it. No prep. This was 6 months of work. I mean, I worked. And so it was that process that changed something in me, you know, and it's the way that TEDx and you guys taught me how to speak the TED way was just so different. And I told Tim, I said, look, I put so much into this. I really feel like I need to give something back. And that's when we had the conversation about, well, maybe this is the way to give back. Because I was thinking maybe just being a coach. And then it morphed into this, and it was the cons. And the biggest con for me is time. I'm just so busy. I have a very busy practice. So I told Tim, I said, I won't do anything I can't do really well. Like if I can't do an amazing job, I will not do it. So that was a hard thing for me, making sure on my calendar I could get enough time to make sure I could devote what needs to be devoted. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a year away, so it was pretty easy to get all that on my calendar now because we did it so early. And so, when you said you're staying, the team said they're staying, they're all in. We got Pete, Sabrina, you, and then we're bringing in Christy as curators and me. So we'll have an amazing team of curators to pick the talks. We'll have amazing coaches. We've already been solicited by some people who want to coach that are amazing coaches. So I think it's going to be an amazing talk this year. I'm really excited. I hope I can bring a fresh breath of energy to it, because I'm an outsider who didn't know anything about TEDx until last year, until I became a speaker. So, sometimes that's a fresh breath of air to something like this. And I'm hoping that's what it can be. I want to help it be a little, I don't know if I say better, but maybe more different. Let's put it that way. I want it to be different. Hopefully that different is better. But I will tell you one thing about me. I am very, very strict. Like I'm a stickler for things to be done the right way. And so you're really good at that too, Tim. You're just really nice about it. so you'll be the good cop. But yeah, I want to make sure the talks we have are amazing. And look, I put in the work and I'm as busy as probably anyone out there. So if I can do it, everyone else can do it. So I guess that's the one thing I'll say. The speakers that we want this year are going to be speakers who will put in the work. Because if you have a great idea and you put in the work, it's going to be a great talk. It won't not be a good talk because we have so many great curators and coaches. If we get people with great ideas that are willing to put in the work, I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited about this year.
I think I want to ask you a question to give a little bit of guidance since you'll be, you're going to be one of those people deciding what the talks will be. What kind of talks are you looking for, or what maybe is there a specific thing about an application that you really want to see from somebody who's applying to TEDxEustis during the application period that's open now?
Yeah, I want it to be different. I want it to be new and different. I want it to be something that when I read it, I go, oh, wow, that sounds interesting. And so that's what I'm looking for. If you can give me that, you already got my attention for the idea. Then it's going to be a matter of, can you put in the work? Are you able to talk on stage? You're not an introvert and so forth. But yeah, it's that I want that wow talk. Like I wanted to go jump off the page and go, wow, this is a fantastic idea. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that since as you were saying, both all three of us, Byron and Robin and I, have agreed to still be part of the TEDxEustis family. One of the reasons I looked for a successor is I didn't want that family of people to go away. It didn't make much sense for us to build this great group of people, of coaches and previous speakers and concierges and other people, and then have it disappear and that happens to TEDx events. They'll just end, end and nobody keeps it going. So we will still want to be very much involved, just not the licensees and the people sort of leading the team. I think it's great to find another leader who leads the team. And I'm glad to be one of the lieutenants who follows the general, since you've asked me to be part of the curation team and look over talks and be part of the group that sort of fights out which talks are going to get selected. For me, the biggest mistake anyone makes is they don't read the application and answer the actual questions. Like we have 62 or something like that applications already. And the number of those people who the question is in one sentence, describe your idea, and they just say, The power of positive thinking. That's not a sentence, number one. It's just not a sentence. It's a title. Or they don't even they don't explain their idea, or they use three sentences. Well, it says in one sentence, please. So you're already telling me you can't follow instructions. The other is we tell them no self-help talks, and then we get these self-help talk ideas, and it's like we want research stuff. We want things that you can explain to me why you're when it says why are you the one person to bring this idea, and it's like, well, because I've lived with depression. Okay, but you're suggesting there's a clinical answer to depression, but you're not a clinical anything. Like that's not going to work. I need to see the research, especially if you're going to suggest them. So for me, those are the things that are a big deal when we read when we read a suggest an application, or we just get from somebody who it's clear they just have an idea that 10,000 people could have. It's got to be something interesting to me. You do have a question already. So Marie Leffler, I think it might be. I hope I said your name right. Um,
Oh yeah.
the website says no slides or props. Do you consider a musical instrument a prop, Todd?
No. If we pick a talk with a musical instrument, the musical instrument's part of the talk. Last year there was an accordion. I know we've had whatever James used, that whatever that
Didgeridoo?
is, it
Yeah,
yeah, didgeridoo. Yep. So one of
absolutely.
the best talks I watched on TEDx was a beatboxer. It was amazing, and he had this like little kit that would like loop his sound. So he would make a sound and then loop it. So yeah, if you can make sure it works flawlessly every time, and you incorporate it into your talk, and it's necessary for your talk, by all means, absolutely. I'd love to have a musical talk if we could find someone interesting, a new idea, something that would inspire others. I would be all for that.
So
Oh, we got another one.
one of the things that is interesting about that, I want to point out the reason that we instituted that rule years ago is our very first year we allowed slides, and it became so difficult. The speakers just got distracted by their slides. The other thing about slides is people use slides as a crutch when they're giving a talk. They go, "Oh, I'm not going to prepare a talk. I'll do slides and then I just look at the slides and read off of them and that's my talk." And that's not the point. We want people, I at least want people when they're giving a TEDx talk to connect with the audience. And slides are like wearing a mask. They're in the way because this is what you get. So okay, so like people constantly look at the screen. They're not looking at the audience. If they're really good at using slides, then no problem. But most people aren't, and they're distracting. We want you to be able to give your talk without that. And the few times that we've had people say, "Well, I really need a picture of this one thing." Well, we've printed a picture out and put it on the stage with them. Or we had a man who said, David Schramm said, I want to put a picture of the note that my daughter slipped under our door when my wife and I were arguing. I want to show it. I said, why don't you just bring the actual note? It would be far more effective if you pulled that out of your pocket and said, 15 years ago, my daughter wrote this note and you've kept it. Like, I don't need to see the note because you tell me what it says in it. Like, that's way more valuable. So when we say no props, it's like when somebody says to us, we had this. As somebody who got picked and I was told no props. And this person said, but I want to put a big trunk on the stage and pull things out and I'm like, well, you're not Carrot Top. I don't know why they wanted to be like, well, sometimes a flower grows in a crannied wall. And you're no, what are you doing? Or they wanted to use slides of a door opening and a door closing. We all know what that looks like. We don't need that. So, the difference would be like Anya Verlova one year wanted to talk about bonobo apes. Instead of a picture of them on the screen, we had her draw a picture of a bonobo ape. And she talked about, here's a picture I've drawn of a bonobo ape. Well, guess what? It immediately was closer. So I'm assuming, Marie, that, if you had a musical instrument, you'd be actually playing it or at least showing something off about it. There'd be a reason to have it on the stage. So, I mean, we've allowed red spatulas, we've allowed, minor small things. Dennis asked the question, will you continue the breakout sessions that we did last year, meaning those discovery sessions, Todd? Dennis really enjoyed those. What do you think, Todd?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it too, and so we will have them. I think the people that did the breakout sessions enjoyed doing them. So I
Yeah.
think it was one of the highlights. we might work on some way of getting some transportation for folks up and down the hill. But yes, I think it was a great idea. I thoroughly enjoyed them.
Yeah, I think it gave people, it kind of broke up the day. It wasn't just all listening to speakers. Um, and you and I haven't talked about it specifically, but do you think that sort of means you're still going to aim for the 10 to 12 speakers instead of going more?
Yeah, and I don't want to be like sound too hard too early, but yeah, I'd like to definitely think about 12 total speakers. And I hate to say it, but if somebody doesn't do the work, then if you have to cut one or two speakers, you still have, nine or 10, which is still
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, and we seem to lose some every year. So, Patricia asked a question. I'll read it all out loud. I'll give you a little bit of my feedback and then let Todd answer if he wants to. And this may be something that needs to be more in depth after we see your application. But my talk will combine science and spirituality called the Divine Two-Step, dancing our way to heaven on earth by one, aligning our minds with the divine all the time, while two, anchoring to the feeling of gratitude in our hearts all day, every day. Does this fall within the parameters of acceptability? I'm going to speak for myself as a single curator among several curators for TEDxEustis this year. You're using the term science and spirituality. Science requires research-backed research that you have that you can prove. Spirituality is sometimes allowed on the TEDx stage. I tend to go away from it because it tends to too often talk about things that you can't prove or show or whatever. So it would be quite a you'd be it's quite the dance to figure out how to get that onto the stage or make it interesting. I want to know more what that means. I think I'd want you to give a better explanation of what that means because it sounds like a lot of personal life coach stuff. And those are usually the people that don't make it to our stage because it's life gets better, self-help feels good. Now, that's not to say that's what you are. I'm just from what I'm reading with all I'm reading, I'm just reading that little bit. So it's a little woo-woo for me. I'm just telling you me. I'm only one of five people. Todd, do you want to address this one at all?
Yeah, I think it's just vague. It's just a really vague topic. Yeah, sure, dancing does make you feel good. And if you're dancing to spiritual music, it might make you feel like you're connected to the divine, whatever the divine is to you. Does that meet the TED parameters for a talk? I don't think so. I don't think it's anything new. I don't think it's anything different. I don't think it's an old idea from a different perspective. I think everybody knows those things. So for me personally, what I'm looking for are things that I don't know already. You got to come to me with an idea that I'm going to go, oh, never thought about that, or never thought about that way. That's a really neat way of thinking about it. Like me, I did my talk for estate planning, and when I pitched it, you're like, boring. No, we don't want to hear about estate planning. That's boring. But we might want to hear about why young people should do estate planning. And I'm like, shoot, that is interesting. That's an old thing, estate planning from a new perspective, why young people should do it. So that's really what we're looking for is, either old ideas with a new spin. So yeah, dance has been around forever, but here's a new way to dance that does this. Maybe that's something that could be interesting. I
Yeah.
don't know, but for me, and I am a strong Christian, so it's not about not liking Christianity or any other religion. It's not politics, religion, and promoting your business cannot be on the stage. It's just not what a TEDx stage is for. TEDx stages are for new ideas, wow ideas, or old ideas from a new perspective or a new way of looking at it.
But I want to give you some more feedback that I think just so you get it so that first of all, I don't want you to feel like I'm just like automatically this is not going to work. There's a lot of buzzy words in what you wrote. What I would like to know is practically what does it mean? What does that actually mean? Because it reads like a brochure. So I don't want the brochure. I want the actual practical. And also you need to understand something. You're presenting for an entire audience that is many, many different people, and many of them they're not going to connect with they're not connecting, they're not spiritually connected, they're not part of that. So we're not just sharing an idea for people who are open to that. We got to share it for all of them. So I want to hear more about how does that fit an entire audience of people, not just people who might be looking for that particular thing. So especially when you're presenting your idea to a TEDx organization to be considered for their stage, you can't be nebulous about what you want to present on their stage. I kind of want to hear This is exactly what I'm going to say. And if we can't, you ever see like where somebody does a mission statement for their business and at the end of it you still have no idea what they do? And they wrote
Mhm.
50 words and you go, I still don't know what they actually do. We leverage the yada yada blah blah. So what I want is I want words that are more that aren't so much in that world of that are words you would use a lot in that world. Write it as if you had to tell this to a plumber. And then I want to hear it
Mhm.
that way. And I think it would actually fit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I just want to mention I did deliver a TEDx Ocala talk in 2019. So it's not, I do know, how
Good.
to give TEDx talks, but this has evolved since 2019. So talk about a fresh idea. It has nothing to do with physical dance. It's a dance of our mind and our heart, our thoughts and our feelings. And so does that fall into behavioral stuff? Well, possibly, but it changes the person from the inside out. And I think that's what audiences, no matter how spiritually focused they are, it reaches them. So that's just my take on it. And when I apply, I will elaborate on this.
And what would be
Yeah, and
really
then
helpful too when you apply would be to provide a link to your TEDx talk from
Oh,
Ocala.
surely.
I
Absolutely.
will also point out that every TEDx event is different, and Ocala leans much more heavily um, into mind, body, spirit than we do, or than we have in the past. So if
Yeah.
someone came to me with your idea and you hadn't told me you were at TEDx Ocala previously, I would probably suggest to you that maybe that's a talk that Manal would appreciate more than we would.
Yeah.
So to hear that you've already been one of her speakers, it makes sense. So that works out. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Let's see. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask of Todd or myself? You don't have to, but it's nice to see that Doug is here. Doug, I think were you one of our volunteers this year?
That is correct.
Well, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us here. Are you planning to do that again? Are you thinking of applying as a speaker at some point? What's your interest?
Probably speaking.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, the application is open. Please read it over. Make sure you you know, answer the questions the way they're asked. There's only a couple of them. So it's helpful. And don't be afraid to really explain your idea. Um, and when we ask why you're the person to deliver the idea in that application, um, we're kind of looking for what unique spin do you bring to it? What qualifications do you have? What is it that makes this something you can present? So that would be really useful for you to make sure that's where you can really elaborate on what you know, what you're not, where your knowledge about this particular subject comes from.
Understood.
So, thanks, Doug.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lauren, you were a coach for us last year and this year, last year, whatever, this last year, and you were our speaker in 2024. Um, I think you're probably back as a coach if we can find the right speaker for you. I hope, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I already texted Todd and let him know that I'm coming in if we want me and Danielle. Um, so I've kind of co-opted a couple people to come in and coach.
We absolutely love that. So thank you so much. And you have a book coming out shortly.
I do. It's in 10 days.
wow.
So her book's coming out. Y'all pre-order or pay attention or whatever. Unruly. It's going to be. I've read it. I've read most of it already. Thank you for the early digital copy. I will be ordering my own copy. So we like to support our previous speakers and our coaches. So thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
I know we have Dennis with us. If you want to chat at all, Dennis, thank you so much for being a coach for so many years. I don't remember how long it's been, Dennis, but it's been what, 42 years? How long has it been? You'll have to unmute, by the way. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Only 40. Don't age me. Thank you, Tim. By the way, it's very nice to see you in a suit. You look very dapper.
I just gave a talk about Frank Lloyd Wright, but I will say I did take the pants off. I'm in shorts now. I'm in just like regular shorts. But
That's the
I'm in Western New York giving talks in Buffalo and Rochester about Frank Lloyd Wright. So I just gave my seventh
awesome.
one today, and it was really fantastic. But you know, Dennis, you do a really good job of coaching people on the stage of how to present. So any suggestions you might give to some of these people who are watching now or later about, one of the things they need to think about, or how should they prepare their idea, or what perspective they need to bring if they're going to apply?
Well, thank you for the compliment. You all have provided a wonderful support system, so you make it easy. So the new guy, welcome back to year number 2, a step up, and you got really big shoes to fill. The best thing I would say is follow everything what you guys have said. Forget all this airy stuff. Just be real. It's better to say a lot about a little than a little about a lot. Really, really condense it and make it connecting to us. I hate PowerPoint presentations, except the ones about TED, except the ones you're doing right now, of course, Tim. But all the others are really, I think they sort of get between the audience and the speaker, and I don't have my students use them.
Yeah, it's really good strategy, and you really can learn people get so worried. They're like, "Oh, I don't have my PowerPoint," but when you don't have it, it actually frees you up. I mean, Lauren's shaking her head yes, because she certainly knows. I want to go to Pete before we finish, and then I'll come back to you, Todd, so you can wrap up stuff. Pete, you're going to be reading and choosing speakers as well as one of the curators. Talk to me about what you're looking for when you read, because we all read them differently. You read them differently than I do.
And I think that's what's so exciting about reading them is we have maybe 30 that we like when we finish, and 10 of them from everybody will kind of match, and the other 20 might only have 1 or 2 of us that were interested in it. So it really helps that a lot of us read it and go through it. I think what we see is a lot of people fall in love with the words instead of the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The other part of it, Pete, tell me, what do you think is the common thing, though, with those people that we do pick? For me, it's about they have a very unique point of view. And even if they have an old idea, because most of the idea, I mean, look, most ideas are old. There's not that many brand new, completely new ideas. But when you give me a unique spin on it, right? Like when you put a unique spin on an idea and I go, oh, that's different and unique. Danielle Roberts wanted to talk about burnout among younger people and people not feeling like their work was, had value to them, was something they wanted to do. But she wasn't trying to say, young people don't want to work anymore. She was like, young people do want to work, but they want it to have meaning. And I went, oh, I don't hear that topic very much. I liked the spin on it, right? Pete, so what do you think might be, of the ones that we're sure we go, wow, we all agree on these, on these. What is it about those that they're bringing?
I think it's just what you're talking about. It's when we see somebody that's actually been in the field or been in a position where they saw something from a different angle than anybody else.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's refreshing, isn't it? When
raw chicken isn't good.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely refreshing that when we get a new perspective. So I want to sort of end this because we've been on this for 30 minutes. I think this is a real simple intro. If anybody else, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Lauren did put the link to her book. You can buy it through Simon and Schuster. So Lauren, very smart. That's in the chat if anybody wants it. And Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you to sort of end this. I know there's so much more coming. So anybody who wants to apply or knows someone who should apply, they have until August 1st. But Todd, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So somebody asked the question: is there a theme yet? No, we won't pick the theme till we have the talks. So we'll have the talks first. We don't want people tailoring their applications to some theme that we just created out of the air. So we'll pick the talks, then we'll all discuss what the theme is, and then come up with a theme after that. So for me, and Tim and I were talking about this before everybody hopped on. At the end of the day, it's the work. Like I need to see, and especially you, Tim, you were really good about getting this into me before I was chosen. You're like, here's the commitment. It's this. Are you willing to do it? So I want people who want to do work. Like that's it. You
Yeah.
bring us a great idea. You got to convince us you're going to put in the work. So when we start culling it down to those last 30, we might get them on Zoom or have them send in a recording of themselves. But at the end of the day, we want to know you're going to put in the work to do a great talk. Because if you're not, you're just not going to get on the stage. If you do put in the work, you're going to do a great talk, and you're going to be so proud of the work you did, and you're going to feel amazing because you did something you never thought you could do. And I know that because I did something I never thought I could do. I never thought I'd put that much work into a talk, but I'm so glad I did. And it did change me. It changed the way I prepare, changed the way I talk, to now at every talk. So it's worth it. And so that's what we want, and I'm excited. I hope we get, a lot of great applications with fantastic ideas. I hope it's really, really hard to get it down to those 12 talks, because then I think we'll have an amazing year.
I'm totally with you. Todd, I just want to highlight to anybody who's listening or watching this later that we are still accepting applications till August 1st, but it's possible that we'll start looking through them even before then and inviting people to either present to us or do a video, because it would be really helpful for us to be able to announce those speakers by the end of August. So that it really is the goal, so that they can be having their time between September and February to actually get ready, or September and February, for early February, to be able to get there. Our tentative date, I think, for next year is Saturday, February 7th. Isn't that right, Todd?
That's right.
And
Hopefully Camp Boggy Creek again. Hopefully.
so yeah, that's probably the biggest hurdle at the moment, is just getting an answer from Camp Boggy Creek, but they're meant to answer a question. They're meant to answer that in the next few weeks, so we should have an idea. All right. Well, it doesn't look like there's any other questions. So thank you so much, Todd, and everyone else. And, you know, that's sort of the last word so far, but stay tuned. You'll still be getting emails from TEDxEustis, and you'll be seeing Todd's face a little more often. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.